All right, football fans. We are back. I'm going to be trying out a different format here. Once QuickTime is able to start recording. All right, there it is. So I'm going to be trying a new format here where I'm reacting to game week 8 of the Premier League season here. I'm going to be reacting live to the highlights and we'll see how it works. Trying out something new here. So I'm going to be starting with the Liverpool at Luton Town match that happened. I believe this was the first match of the week, Saturday, October 7th. So I'm going to go ahead and start watching those highlights and react here. Tottenham has been getting kind of lucky, to be honest with you. I know they scored a couple goals at the very end of the match last week, and it seems like they avoided narrow defeat here when they played Luton Town. So let's see what happened in this one. Carlton Morris, big fan of his. Alfie Doherty has really started to look good over the past, I want to say 3 or 4 weeks. And I believe he looked good in this one too. And Kaminsky, just because he plays in Luton, he doesn't get a lot of praise, but I think he's a very underrated keeper. And only allowing one goal here to Tottenham, very impressive. But let's see the match here. Him and Son starting as striker. Basuma, I think we know what happened in this one to him. I've been kind of disappointed with Basuma. I don't like that formation. I don't think it's ideal for Spurs to have a formation has some defensive mids. Him and Pape Sarr, because they're actually very offensive minded. So to put them in that position when they're essentially on the third line of the attack, I think that their talents are being misused a little bit. So we're into the highlights here. Let's start seeing what goes on. Yeah, Luton Town. Richarlison squandering an opportunity here, as we know him to do. That guy has really, really fallen off. I thought he was pretty good at Everton, but I think he's really fallen off over the last year or so. And joining Tottenham was not a good move for him. My brother mentioned this as well. Watching Porro is also a great offensive defender. People make fun of his defense, but I think he's great. He's great to own, like in a fantasy league. I play in a fantasy league in Fantrax. He gets a ton of key passes, accurate crosses. He plays up top. I really enjoy the way he plays, but maybe he's not the best defender. But what I was saying earlier is Luton, because it's such a small stadium, you feel like even when they're recording taping the game here, it feels like you're like pitch side essentially, because of how low they have to get to not see into people's homes. All right. Well, most of the first 20 minutes here has been controlled by Tottenham. But now Luton is putting the pressure on. Their attack is a little bit questionable. I thought Carlton Morris was going to be significantly better than he is shown to be. I thought he was going to take the Premier League by storm the same way Pookie did, in the same way these guys that come from the second division come. And at least in the beginning, dominates their team in terms of at least scoring a goal a game. But Carlton Morris hasn't really done that. Different players here on Tottenham putting the ball on goal. We've seen Son, Richarlison, Porro, Kulusevski, and Madison all put shots on goal. And Kaminsky, as I mentioned before, oh boy. Is that a goal or not? This is in the 38th minute. I think that the goal was what was called back. I guess I'm gonna listen back and hear if you guys were able to hear any of the audio from the highlights. A dive. Oh wow! Basuma got a red for diving after he had a yellow before. Wow! A yellow for simulation. It wasn't even in the box. That is astonishing. And actually, I'm a fan of that. I actually think that should happen a lot more. Oh, Adebayo missing a sure goal here. That's why you are as low as you are in the standings, Luton, for missing goals like that. Adebayo had a sure thing. Well, here's the goal for Tottenham. Van de Ven. It looks like that's his first goal with Spurs. I believe he's a defender too. And they were playing with 10 men. This is right after they went to 10 men. This is a nice little flick by the Spurs defender here, Van de Ven. The Dutchman, no doubt. That was a Madison assist. Always impressive when you're down to 10 men and you're still able to score like that, especially 0-0. Wow. Adebayo, poor cross in. Doughty. Oh, man. Doughty with the mullet. Big chance, just went wide of goal. Doughty again setting up a chance. Carlton Morris had a shot on target. He just lacks a little bit of that finishing skill. I think maybe it just doesn't translate into. It looks like he had a bloody nose. I just don't think maybe it translates into the Premier League. Maybe this is a wow. Great banana kick by a Spurs player that I didn't catch who that was. Yeah, sometimes that happens. I mean, that happened with Pookie as the season wore on. With Norwich, they caught people by surprise, but I don't know. I guess Carlton Morris. No, that was somebody else. But a lot of these Luton players that probably dominated in the second division, just the class is just not there. Doughty again with a shot that just goes over the crossbar. Quite a few chances here. I mean, as I'm seeing this, it looks like Luton, the chances, Tottenham maybe had 60% and Luton 40%. I think the highlights are about to end here. We're in the 95th minute. There's one last chance for Luton, and they squander it. Vicario, by the way, I think is a tremendous keeper for Tottenham. He might be the best player on their team, if I'm being honest with you. I know a lot of people will say Son, and he's great too. He'll have some good games, some not so good games. Vicario, their keeper, what a improvement over Lloris he's been. Lloris really, I think, took a downward turn in his latter years there. Luton fighting in the end here. We're in the 97th minute, even though there's 95 minutes and there's supposed to be only 5 minutes in stoppage time. Squandering chances, just not on the same page, just clustering. And they pull it off. Tottenham win this one 1-0. And we will move on now to the next match, which is Fulham versus Sheffield. Man, Luton had a chance there. They really squandered it, but fair play to Tottenham. Some of these good sides just they have the finishing skills. They have the experience, and that's what showed there. Even at Kensington, what is it? Kenilworth. There's a Kenilworth Avenue near where we are here, so but I think theirs is Kenilworth Row. That's a place I would love to see a football match. So we're on to Fulham and Sheffield here. couple struggling teams. I thought Fulham losing Mitrovic was a huge loss for them because I have always been a big fan of Kenny Tete and Anthony Robinson in how they were able to, I guess, feed Mitrovic with a lot of their accurate crosses and key passes. But with him not there, they don't really have a presence at striker. Vinicius, Willian, I think Paulinho and Pereira are midfielders. So their striker, yeah, Jimenez. Jimenez is no good. I'm not a fan of Jimenez. Um, but I won't give away for those that don't know the result. I'm sure you guys know the result, but we'll keep the suspense in this one. What happened in this one? What a beautiful pitch compared to Luton, where we're just coming from. It's just you can tell the difference immediately. Even the grass. Anthony Robinson. Oh, D. Cordova Reed. He's another guy that I thought was good early, but just not a great finisher. But Anthony Robinson to D. Cordova Reed there. Couldn't finish it. See, that's something that Mitrovic just attacks more and finishes. And D. Cordova Reed just not as adept at that. Well, Sheffield keeper playing a dangerous game there. Willian seizes, and D. Cordova can't finish as per usual. Or I guess that's Vinicius. Also, not a great finisher. They call him just CV when they present his name, which is, I think, a little interesting. I don't know why they do that. But, I think Fodringham is the name of the Sheffield keeper. We're going to see some interesting stuff for him later on in this match. Willian with a tremendous shot on target, misses. Fulham is dominating. They're on the front foot here for the first 20 minutes of the match. Sheffield a little feckless, a little toothless. I'm a fan of Ollie McBurney for Sheffield, but I think he is still rounding in the form here after having missed maybe the first 3 or 4 matches to injury. And he didn't do much in this one either. Vinicius tries to feed, I believe, D. Cordova Reed. And nothing there as well. We're 41 minutes in, and there's only been Fulham attack. There hasn't been a single attack by Sheffield. I mean, Sheffield needs to find out how to present some kind of attack. You know, they had a great match. I remember Archer and McBurney. They had some really good synergy in the matches that they've been successful. They have not been able to replicate it, and you should against a team like Fulham. I mean, Fulham should be a team that you're able to feast on. 14 minutes of stoppage time in the first half. That is wild. Robinson just bossing D. Cordova Reed here. Tim Ream, the American, got a couple of Americans on this team, at least 2, him and Anthony Robinson. As we have Willian going down the flank here. Squandered chance. We're at the 56th or 57th minute as Andres Pereira squanders another chance here in the first half. I mean, this is, I guess fans are getting their money's worth, really. I mean, you pay for 90 minutes of match time, but it looks like you're getting more like 110 minutes most of these games. They keep cutting down on this diving and simulation, and they penalize it. I think that'll add more time to the game, but also to penalize folks that dive. So it'll make it more exciting. It's so much more exciting when players play through contact, and it's a lot less embarrassing. I think it's kind of embarrassing when you when you just fall down without any, and you simulate and you writhe in pain, and it's a little desperate and pathetic. Craven Cottage, home of Fulham FC. A deflection by Ollie Norwood. Really, at the beginning of the second half here is the beginning of the action for, and there's Ollie McBurney. Sheffield start the second half on the front foot in this one. Willian now, his pace, his Brazilian pace here, beats everyone. But of course, deep Iwobi. Oh, I didn't know Iwobi was on Fulham. I thought he was still on Everton. I think he's a great player. Well, here is D. Cordova-Reid. Finally, the first goal of the match in the 53rd minute. There's no way he was going to miss that one. That was set up perfectly. I think maybe that was from Pereira. It must have been from Pereira. He is a class midfielder on this side. Iwobi has tremendous pace and aggression. I really like the way he plays through contact and how fast he is. I think they should try to get Iwobi a lot more minutes on Fulham. I didn't even know he was on this team. That might be a new pickup. What a great weighted pass from Pereira to D. Cordova-Reid for their first goal of the match. Well done, well done. This is the 7th highlight they're showing of this goal. But make no mistake, D. Cordova-Reid is not a class player at all. But he's not missing goals like that. All right. Fancy footwork. Oh, fancy footwork. And Ollie McBurney. I'm not sure who that fancy footwork was. Maybe it was Archer. Or maybe Gustavo Hamer. He's another great player on Sheffield. That just a bad team. Good player, bad team. Ollie McBurney couldn't put it. Couldn't finish it into the net here. An own goal by Anthony Robinson. Really, he had no other choice. That was, I think, LaRouche sent it in, who I think is a very reckless player. But he does send in a lot of crosses. Diop, it looks like he was injured badly, but Anthony Robinson, poor guy. You know, when you're a defender at this level and you're just kind of like in the middle of the goal trying to defend it, your job is to guard against the back post, like a potential player on the back post. And McBurney was there, so he's not wrong. Maybe McBurney would have finished if Anthony Robinson didn't put it in his own net there. But tough luck for Anthony Robinson. Man, him and Tete have just – I used to be a huge fan of those guys. I had them on my FPL teams consistently when Mitrovic was there. They did so well as offensive defenders. But old big hair Robinson responsible for this own goal here. They're checking a possible offside, but it's not the case. Yeah, poor Anthony Robinson. And so it's 1-1 now in the 70th minute for Sheffield, as terrible and toothless as they've been in this match, to have a goal provided to them by Fulham. I think they should really seize on this. We'll see if they put any pressure and try to actually win this match. That's a giveaway. Bad defense by Sheffield. And there it is. That's the Tom Kearney goal. This is, I think, the goal of the week. An amazing goal from way outside the box. You're talking about halfway between the goal box and midfield. Tremendous left-footed strike. Tremendous awareness by Tom Kearney to see that Fodringham is a bit out the goal and just kind of hits it, and it scrapes the top bar, I believe the top crossbar. Catches Fodringham out of position. Amazing goal. Tom Kearney had a lot of acclaim. I remember when Fulham was promoted. I think that was 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. I remember I drafted Tom Kearney in fantasy or picked him up early, and he's been injured, and he just doesn't play full 90s. So a lot of people, I believe, forgot about him. Him and Wilson as well, but great goal there. I think that speaking of Harry Wilson, I believe that was Harry Wilson that just had an amazing go at goal that just hits the post. And Fulham is just dominating on offense here. Absolutely dominating. We're in the 83rd minute. Sheffield has maybe had 2 or 3 chances all match. Fulham maybe 15 at this point. And Willian, there we go. The third goal, putting the finishing touches on this one. 3-1 Fulham over Sheffield, scoring in the 92nd minute here of 98 minutes of extra time. Tremendous strike. Tremendous. I mean, this guy has quite a leg. And it deflects off the keeper. Sets it up. Does a little give and go with his teammate. And the third goal of the match by Willian. Tremendous. Well done. Shots, but that's going middle of goal, isn't it? I think he'll think he should have saved that one, but Willian, another bit of yeah, Fodringham had a chance to save it, but it deflected off of him. Commentators talking about how much space he had. He did have quite a lot of space. Sheffield just uninspiring. Just has been uninspiring, just lacking. They have a free kick here, set piece in the 99th minute, and they do nothing with it. So Fulham scores. That's Burnley. He should have had a clean sheet in this one. He's a great keeper. I think he's top 3 in the EPL. I think probably him and Vicario are 2 of the best. So that's how this one ends. Fulham 3, Sheffield 1. Fulham scores 4, all 4 goals in this game. One of them is an own goal. As we move on now to Burnley against Chelsea. And Vincent Kompany with his unique blazer and hat and a t-shirt style. Very unique. Nobody else dresses like Vincent Kompany for sure. Amin Al-Dakhil, he has a Belgian flag next to his name, but he is very clearly not originally Belgian. He is one of us. He looks maybe Moroccan, something like that. Lyle Foster, the South African. What a revelation. I regret letting him go. I had him. I was the first one to pick him up in fantasy, and then he got that bizarre red card and was out for 3 matches, and somebody else picked him up. I had to drop him. And he is the best player on this team. He's definitely the best scorer on this team. I think he probably has, 4 goals at this point, and he has also at least 1 or 2 assists. For Chelsea, Cucurella is back in the starting lineup. That's a bit of a surprise. Caicedo throwing up the L. I'm not sure what that means. Broha, the Albanian. Sterling looking a little sus in his lineup roster photo. Mudryk on the bench, Jackson on the bench. A lot of the guys that they brought in, Chelsea basically is a new team. They have Cole Palmer. Um, if you compare Chelsea now to a year ago, or especially 2 years ago, uh, doesn't resemble at all. Completely different. Um, so Chelsea starts here. This is at Turf Moor, one of my favorite names for a stadium. And I'm surprised Kukurea is starting in this one. I thought he was destined to never play again. He was one of my favorite players when he was at Brighton, but he fell out of favor. And who was that coach that didn't know how to use him? Oh, the guy that came from Brighton. I forget his name. He had a very short tenure at Chelsea. But he just did not know how to incorporate him when he was one of many good players on Chelsea. But he was amazing at Brighton. His pace, his ability to go upfield. He was another offensive defender. And it just never translated for him at Chelsea, as Raheem Sterling, who's having a bit of a resurgence, I think, this year with Chelsea, has a goal here that goes just wide of the post. He must be the best offensive player on Chelsea, Raheem Sterling. I think far and away. Wow, Foster starting the attack for Burnley. And there's his assist to Odebert, a guy I've never heard of. Lau Foster makes it happen. Coming into the season, I thought the men to have on this team were Brownhill, who they're showing celebrating. Maybe Zeki Amdouni, maybe Enes Zarouri, maybe there's maybe one or two other players. Who is that other offensive player? Anyway, the guys that did well for them in the second division doesn't look like have been doing much at all. Brownhill wasn't even a starter. I think Berga took over Brownhill's spot for a while, but now they're realizing that Brownhill really was the playmaker for them last year, and they need him in there. He seems to be doing a little better. Brun Larson, of course, last week, or it was, I think, Tuesday. It was a very late part of a double game week. Had an amazing goal. One of the goals of the week. But don't think he did much in this one. We'll see. Kukurea is still on the attack here. Playing the way that we knew and loved him to play at Brighton. And again, Sterling attacking on goal here. Really, like I mentioned before, the best player on this team, Fleet, has fleet feet, and here he scores a goal. This is an own goal by El Dakhid, but it was shot by Sterling. Sterling made it happen. That guy is. I mean, I don't know that we really saw this at Manchester City. Maybe we did, but he just has his own spotlight at Chelsea now. He is the primary playmaker, even in his advanced age. I mean, he's not young. I don't know that he's old, but I don't think he's very young. Making plays here, just taking on defenders with his speed. He's very slight, but he is aggressive, and he has quite a shot as well as they continue to embarrass El Dakhid here, our Belgian but Arabi brother. Poor guy. They're talking about how he's never scored a goal as they bring up his own goal on his own net. Again, Raheem Sterling with the pace. And he draws a penalty. Brownhill is contesting it here. It looks like it says UFC on the referee's patch there on the side there. It's a little too close to UFC. Man, Raheem Sterling, just absolute domination. And that was right on the edge of the box. That's maybe a little questionable whether that should have been a pen. But he has been at this pace the entire season. He must have really worked on his resurgence during the offseason. And they're allowing who to take it here? Cole Palmer. Cole Palmer will be taking the pen that Raheem Sterling earned. And does Cole Palmer, also the former Manchester City man, make the most of this as Del Croy from Burnley pushes in the box? And he does. Cole Palmer does. I thought that was kind of a big loss for Manchester City. As we've seen Manchester City, and we'll talk about it a little bit later here, they've lost some of their depth. They've lost some of their key depth. Mahrez and Gundogan and Cole Palmer. And who else? Those are three big ones. I'm sure there's others that I'm not thinking of now, but losing that kind of depth, two of your best players, one of your really good up and coming players, I think has resulted in them going on this losing streak. I can't remember the last time Manchester City was on a losing streak, but especially losing to Wolves. I mean, that is a great attempt there by Burnley. Odebert, again. Odebert is really showing himself in this one. He makes Sanchez really work to save this one here. That could have been a goal. That was at the top of the goal there. He just barely got it over the bar. He just barely touched it. Sanchez did. Odebert could have gotten a brace in this one. I mean, that's pretty impressive. Sterling again, and a goal by Sterling. Sterling, the star of Chelsea. Who would have thought? I mean, how much money did Chelsea spend this past transfer period and really this entire year on bringing in new folks? But it's their man that they had from 2.5 years, Raheem Sterling. That has been the best player on this team. As they show Pochettino here. It's a steal by Chelsea there. And he's onside. Chelsea, Raheem Sterling, the clearly the man of the match in this one. And we're only in the 66th minute. We're only 2/3 into this match. But he is very, very clearly the man of the match. Just takes Trafford, I believe that's his name, the Burnley goalie, the opposite way. Man, great strike by Raheem Sterling. What a name. Raheem and Sterling, the best of Arabic and English. Again, Sterling, speedy from half field across the line, finds Cole Palmer, who passes to Nick Jackson, who scores. Wow. Raheem Sterling again orchestrated this goal, as well as Cole Palmer with the assist. So really, what a gift Manchester City has given Chelsea in these two players, Raheem Sterling and Cole Palmer. Tremendous. And it is now 4-1 Chelsea over Burnley. And Nick Jackson does the celebration that a lot of these players do when they drop to their knees and put both of their hands up. Speaking of celebrations, Law Foster has a bit of an interesting celebration. That's he kind of like runs and then jumps, lands on 2 feet, and then puts his hand up like that. And he starts smiling. I'm sure there's a deeper meaning to that, but it is a little bit unique. All these players want to have their own celebrations like Ronaldo so they can grow their brand, I'm sure. Nicholas Jackson has yet to really pay off as a striker this year, but I think little by little, I think he's starting to show some uh, some skill here. Um, Conor Gallagher, I've been surprised that he when he was on loan with Crystal Palace, I thought he was one of the best players in the EPL, and then he went back to his club at Chelsea, and maybe it's just a lack of opportunity. He was a big fish in a small pond at Crystal Palace. Now he's a small fish in a big pond amongst a lot of great players in Chelsea, or a lot of highly paid players at least. And great shot on target there. Sanchez saves it. That is by it's not Odebert. It's the other guy that I had. He also has dreads. I forget his name. Yeah, there's a lot of players on Burnley I thought were going to be better than they were. Foster, another shot on right over the goal, but he is easily the biggest threat on Burnley, and it looks like Odebert, maybe if he continues this and has some consistency, can join Foster in the in a badly needed Burnley attack, so that they don't lose 4-1 as they are here, as we're entering the 97th minute, which should be the last minute of this match. Just a weak end to this one here. They're showing 2 corners in a row for Burnley. Just put them out of their misery. Is that Barstool? No, Bristol Street Motor. And mercifully, this one is over. Pochettino hugs Vincent Kompany as we move on after Chelsea beat Burnley 4-1. Just terrible for some of these promoted teams this year. Sheffield and Luton and Burnley here. But we move now to Manchester United against Brentford. Onana is still in goal for whatever reason. There's been a lot of talk about whether Onana was going to be replaced. I think he is not that great. I think he could very well be replaced. Højlund, not Holland, but his Norwegian brother, has been very good for Manchester United. I think he scored maybe a couple goals for Norway in their Euro qualifying, and he's been good for Manchester United too. But Arambarat, there's a guy on Instagram that is like an Arambarat fan page that is pretty cool. But he is starting on the left flank, a left midfielder for Manchester United, as they still take the knee against racism, where I thought they stopped doing that, but man, both teams didn't know they were doing it, and it messed up the starting kickoff. They have to re-kick it. Why? Why are they still doing this? This need for racism? I think you should be doing a lot more. Do some internal work if you want to fight against racism than just taking the knee. It's like the least you can do, and it's like barely even helpful. It's just kind of symbolic. As Hickey for Brentford has a shot that just misses the goal. Wissa, stopped by Evans there, tries to shoot on goal. Wissa has an interesting thing where he has a great game one week, and then the other week he alternates great games. Wissa does. So we have a set piece by Brentford, nothing. So far, Brentford has provided all the attack, but just has lacked some finishing. As Bruno Fernandes and Mason Mount connect there, but Mason Mount also gets it blocked. So the defense is really the story of this match so far. Wissa, very aggressive in this one. And Brentford on the attack here. They have 5-on-4. And do they squander? No, they take advantage and they score. Jensen ends up scoring a lot of these goals. And I think Norgard and Jensen, even though Mbuemo and Wissa at the beginning of the season were the main goal scorers for this team, Jensen and Norgard, I believe it's Norgard. Yes, Norgard. I get him confused with Odegaard on Arsenal, but Norgard and Jensen combined for some great work for Brentford in terms of goal scoring. I think over the past 2 or 3 weeks. That was initiated by Wissa as well, involved in the attack. And Mbuemo was just a spectator. And Mbuemo was extremely involved in the beginning of the season. The first 2 or 3 match weeks, I believe he was maybe one of the best players in the EPL in terms of goals and contributing to goals. But Onana had a chance. It was deflected. It's not all on Onana, but he's going to get a lot of the blame. He's been having a terrible, terrible tenure at Manchester United since coming from Milan. I didn't think he was that great in Milan when I watched him in the Champions League final. Rashford with a shot on target. Can't do anything with it. Saved by the Brentford keeper, which used to be Raya, by the way, who's now in a battle with Ramsdale. Bruno Fernandes with a set piece. Amazing accuracy there. Forces a save from the Brentford keeper, who is not Raya, even though it should be. What a disastrous, weird move. Well, I don't know if it's disastrous, but what a weird move by Arsenal to have Ramsdale and Raya on your team, 2 number 1 keepers. Absolutely bizarre. I'm waiting for the day where they start both of them, or not start both of them, but play both of them, take off one at halftime. And what strategy even goes to that? I understand you have different strengths in a formation. Wow. But with the keeper, I just don't really get it. Eriksson with a great shot on target there with a lot of power. The way he's come back after that, it was like a heart attack or something, has been really inspiring Christian Eriksen. They showed Diogo Dalot. He was a surprising Portuguese. I mean, the way Manchester United are moving the ball, it's not bad. They look like a class team, but just no finishing. And honestly, that when you're in that jersey or what they call a kit, you got to be good, and you're just predisposed to think they're going to be good because of the history of United. As there's an attack here, Manchester United, great pass, but it gets stuck in a Brentford's defender's legs there. Amrabat goes over. Amrabat. Where's Amrabat from? I got to learn more about Amrabat. If somehow you find this Amrabat fan page on Instagram, tell me more about Amrabat. Are you Amrabat? Running that page? Or are you his family? Mbuemo. Finally, an attack by Mbuemo. Tries to find somebody in front of goal, but cannot. Again, they're showing Mbuemo. Is this just a repeat of what he just did? Yeah, they just showed. Yeah, some people do this when they're editing. It's kind of interesting. They duplicate, and they even on podcasts as well. Great. Oh, that's Maupe. Maupe is on Brentford now. That guy cannot score to save his life. I mean, Maupe has so many shots on goal. I bet he has the most shots on goal without scoring. Neil Maupay. All I see him do is not score and take shots on goal. As Manchester United ties it up in the 89th, but it is offside. They're checking it. VAR. And I know the final in this, so let's see how the, oh yeah, that's I do remember what happened here. Dallo spills out. McTominay, the hero, the 93rd minute. 3 minutes into stoppage time as they have no goals. They're down 1-0. And Garnacho saves it from going out. Dallo takes a shot on target. It bleeds out. And McTominay cleans up and sets us up for some real excitement coming up here in the last 3 minutes of this match. As Eric Ten Hag is pumped. 93 minutes with nothing, finally gets something. We're entering the 96th minute. This is supposed to be the last minute of the match. Oh, Martial. Shot on target, not able to. Oh, this is coming here. We're in the 97th minute. This is longer than it should be. And this is what's happened with Tottenham. This is why Tottenham has McTominay with the winner, the header. And pandemonium at Old Trafford here. Probably the most exciting moment of the week, at least so far from what I've seen. Onana runs all the way from his goal to say thank you for taking some of the heat off of me. Oh boy, McTominay, the unsung hero of this one. That guy probably has been barely holding on his spot on this team. After Fred and Harry Maguire, McTominay has been the source of ire for this team. So for him to score a brace in this one, both of them in stoppage time, with a Maguire assist, a Harry Maguire assist. He headed the ball to McTominay, who headed the ball in for the game winner. Heartbreak for Brentford. Jubilation for Manchester United. Wow. And Thomas Frank he's like laughing at how that happened while Ten Hag is just celebrating. Oh, man. Good for McTominay, man. Good for McTominay. Wow. I wonder if you guys are able to hear some of this chatter from the highlights that we're hearing. Wow, they didn't even give Brentford any time to try for a second goal here. And that's how it ends. Manchester United, after they had that goal disallowed in the 89th minute when they were down 1-0, end up winning this game 2-1. And we will move on now to Everton and Bournemouth to see what happened in that one. At Goodison Park in Liverpool. Pickford still in goal somehow for Everton. That guy will just be an Evertonian for life. Mikalenko, Dwight McNeil, Jack Harrison, another Onana, a different Onana, who's Belgian. I mean, Belgium just has players that don't have Belgian names at all, it seems like. Decore starting for them as well up top, but I hate this formation when you have two different lines. It's like 4-4-1-1, and it's just like such a weak defensive formation. We'll see what happened in this one, but usually that's like, what are you doing? You're leaving one guy and then another guy, so you're talking about one guy taking on four defenders and then the guy behind him taking on also like four midfielders. That's weird. Neto, the goalie for Bournemouth, with one of the most excitable pictures here, where he's just smiling and yelling at the camera. Tavernier, Billing, Watara. That's a midfield line that is basically my FPL team. I liked all those guys at certain points in their Bournemouth career, and I had Watara for a while, but Watara really dropped off. Um, Billing hasn't been as a great. I know he still does set pieces, and he's like a staple on this team, but um, Tavernier is great, but he's been injured for a while, and he's just now coming back. And this match is sponsored by Hublot. And it's goalie to goalie. The goalies are just kicking it back from one side of the field pitch to the other. And the Bournemouth defender slips. And we have the first goal of the match by Everton. Garner, 8 minutes into the match. You never see that from Everton. But at Goodison Park, they have special powers that allow them to play like a normal team. They can simulate. They can channel the powers of Liverpool. Big mistake by Bournemouth defender here. Yeah, terrible mistake. Just slips. You gotta get better cleats. They always talk about how the pitch in England is so much more wet than anywhere else in the world, and that's why they're able to slide and do their celebrations. But as you can see, it can be to their detriment. Dwight McNeil, beautiful set piece. Billy. And Everton almost have a second goal here in the 18th minute. I believe that's Decore that almost put a shot on target. But that is saved by the keeper. Solanke with Pickford almost kicking him in the face, coming out so far to save that, save it from being a goal. Into the 37th minute in this one. Jack Harrison tries a shot on target, and I remember what's coming here. Again, Neto making multiple saves, and then Harrison, amazing. Made another save, and from outside the box, a third of a way. Oh, man, wow. What a goal by Jack Harrison. Just a third of the way across the field here, significantly behind the penalty box. Beautiful left-footed shot. Catches Neto out of place. Very similar to the Tom Kearney goal. And what an addition Jack Harrison has been. He was one of the best players on Leeds and is a great spark for Everton here, already paying dividends. And I suppose this is a new Everton team. We'll see if they become a more potent team with Jack Harrison and Dwight McNeil. If Dwight McNeil can stay healthy and play consistently. See if because they're a big name, so. Onana to Decore to Harrison here. We're in the last minute of the second half, the first half. Calvert-Lewin almost converted here to make it 3-0. And this is supposed to only be 2 minutes of stoppage time. We're in the 7th minute of stoppage time. How do you justify that? I mean, what happened in the first 2 minutes? Onana again almost scores. And according to these highlights, this has been first half domination by Everton. Bournemouth doing absolutely nada other than a Pickford attempt to kick Solanke's face off. Tavernier. We're in the 60th minute. He was just dispossessed. Tavernier should be better than this. He's been back long enough. And you know what? Here's the third goal for Everton in the 60th minute. And again, Jack Harrison plays a part. Off a cross in, Jack Harrison heads the ball, and the goalie and the defender scramble to get to it, blocking it, but leaving Doucouré open to just slam it in. It was not clear. Sean Dyche, he looks upset for some reason. I don't know what he's barking. No, actually, the Bournemouth manager also looked even more upset. But Sean Dyche, he's unique in that he only gets upset. He does not get happy. Even when they score, I remember him only getting upset. But he's managed to stay alive as a manager in the EPL, going from, I believe, Burnley to Everton, and then surviving with Everton, I think, 2 years in a row near the bottom of the Premier League, and maybe now with Jack Harrison, who seems like the real spark that this team needed. Look at this, 3-0. We're in the 61st minute, and Bournemouth has had nothing. They've done nothing. It's been all Everton at Goodison Park here, near the Liverpool Stadium, near Anfield, but not Anfield. And there was a VAR check about this, and it is confirmed 3-0 Everton over Bournemouth. And here they are attacking again, and they almost have a fourth. 3 minutes later, Dominic Calvert-Lewin, who used to be a goal-scoring machine, has not found his form. Has been injured multiple times over the past 2 or 3 years, but just has been utterly disappointing. I think they should start Beto over this guy. I mean, Beto actually has taken 12 shots on goal in, I think, the last 3 games, or 13 shots over the last 4 games. So he is clearly a very aggressive player, and I think should be in there over Calvert-Lewin. We're in the 77th minute. Doucouré to McNeil kind of squandered, but he gets a shot on target, but cannot convert. Bournemouth with basically no attempts so far here. There was, okay, well, there's a header here. We're talking the 79th minute. A header in a clustered box here, but does not convert. So it's basically one attempt for Bournemouth, I think, on target the entire game. Kind of a light game for Pickford, it seems. Again, Everton attacking. Beto with another shot, but it hits the side of the net. It just seems like this guy can't find the target. He's very aggressive, which is I really like in a player when I choose him in FPL, because the more aggressive you are and the more aggressive-minded you are, the more likely you'll take shots on target. But this one is over. Everton beat Bournemouth 3-0, and it's embarrassing for Bournemouth. Completely embarrassing. Tavernier, where are you at? He needs to find his stride, because he can be one of the best players in the league when he is on his game. But we move now to Crystal Palace versus Nottingham Forest. Roy Hodgson, God bless him, he is still around. They're starting Sam Johnstone again. I wonder what happened to Vincent Gaeta. What happened to that guy? Nobody knows. Jairo Riedewald. That guy looks a little bit ethnically ambiguous. Looks like he has a Dutch flag, so maybe he's half Dutch, half something else. Edward started in this one, but wasn't as the striker. He's in like a 3-person formation with Mateta up top, and him and IU, and I forget who was the third guy in there. Matt Turner, the American, Captain America of the goalkeepers. Harry Toffolo. We'll see what he did later on in this match for Nottingham Forest. This is a weird midfield setup for Nottingham. Dominguez, Mangala, Sangare. These are new guys. Up top, Morgan Gibbs-White, Chris Wood, Callum Hudson-Odoi. Very interesting. I guess we're used to seeing guys like Brennan Johnson and Awoni and maybe Elanga. So Nottingham Forest is going through some changes, it seems. Looks like a rainy day in either Crystal Palace or Nottingham Forest. The ethnically ambiguous Alderweireld takes a corner. Not much comes from there. Joachim Andersen. There's a time where he was the leading scorer in fantasy this season. I think it was after week 3. He's really dropped off. I knew that wasn't going to be consistent. He was just right place, right time. A very well-struck shot by a Nottingham Forest defender. I forget who that was. Wow. Morgan Gibbs-White misses an amazing shot. Just catches the goalie out of his box, tries to chip it over him, hits the crossbar. Barely misses. Morgan Gibbs-White is class player. I wish there was more people on his team that could help him out. Morgan Gibbs-White is one of those guys that would go to a great team and I think shine. Maybe like Liverpool or Manchester City. Crystal Palace with a set piece. And it is absolutely squandered by IU, of course. IU also one of those guys that surprisingly started the season better than he has ever started and ever played ever in the Premier League this year. And it was kind of fool's gold, it seems like. I signed him to some of my teams. But he's regressed back to who he is, which is, are you kidding me? Wow. Who is that? Who is that? Well, I'd love to applaud you, but I've got a microphone in my hand. What a piece of brilliance from Murillo. He's past you. Aurelio? Aurelio? Is that Aurelio? Who is that? He just dribbled through amazingly like 3 or 4 guys. Wow, that is impressive. That is the most impressive thing I've seen so far in these highlights. He's a defender. He just dribbled Maradona style through 3 or 4 Crystal Palace players there. Who is it? Aurelio, a guy to Murillo. He's a guy to keep an eye on. Wow, what a play that was. All right, 0-0 on to second half action here. 52nd minute. Toffolo. Montiel. Nottingham Forest seems to be on the front foot in this one. Crystal Palace hasn't had really any chances. Jordan Ayew squandered their only chance. All right, Crystal Palace. Tyreek Mitchell Mateta, oh, had a chance, squandered it. Just went just right of the post there. Mateta, um, one of many guys on this team that just seems to be like the same type of player. Him and Edward and uh, there's another guy. They used to have also Christian Benteke. He also just reminded me of these guys as well. And Edward passed to him and couldn't convert. There's a guy behind them too. It's IU, Edward, Mateta, and somebody else. I forget. IU again heads it way, way over the goal. Not even close. Montiel, we're in the 78th minute here. Montiel, just a lot of shots just over the goal in this one. Just not a lot of precision. Well, that was actually saved by. Oh wow, that was a scissor kick that was saved by Crystal Palace. That could have been actually beautiful. And Divock Origi is on for Nottingham Forest. Wow, Divock Origi, the Liverpool hero in the Champions League. Kouyaté, again deflected, had a good chance on goal, deflected by a Palace defender. Another chance by Nottingham Forest there by Elanga, deflected by, well, Palace defenders are just deflecting everything. They're the heroes of this game, it seems. And another deflection, another kick away by Palace as we enter the 93rd minute of the match. Elanga, right, the goalie just comes out and saves it. What a heroic match by the Crystal Palace defense. They are really the side that that saved this match. So this ends 0-0. Crystal Palace, Nottingham Forest, but that Crystal Palace defense very, very impressive. But let's move to a match here that was a little more exciting. Brighton and Liverpool. As Alexis McAllister visits his old team here. I believe it looks like they are playing at Brighton. Bart Verbruggen. Brighton have gone through quite a few keepers. Igor Julio starts in defense, and Solly March starts in defense for Brighton. When I saw this, I could not believe it. Baleba starts in midfield for Brighton with Pascal Gross, Matoma, João Pedro, Adingra. Adingra seems to be getting a lot of play. I'm not fully decided on Adingra and Ferguson up top. Evan Ferguson, the youngster, the Irishman. He seems to have a bright future. They just don't give him enough playing time. On the bench, Ansu Fati, he just can't seem to start. They won't let him start for some reason, even though he's a big prospect. And Alisson, Liverpool doesn't change often except in the midfield. Standard back line. Alexander Robertson Matip. McAllister starting center mid with Szoboszlai and Harvey Elliott. And of course, Salah, Nunez, and Diaz. Looks like Gakpo has a knee injury. Ben Doak, Gerald Kwanzaa. There's a lot of guys that kind of weird on I guess they're saving a lot of injuries. But we're on to Brighton and Liverpool. Brighton looks like a cool place to visit. I guess it's like the beach side of England. I think it should be like a cool place to visit. But I cannot believe Solly March is starting in defense here. It really blows my mind. I wonder how De Zerbi came to that. Wow. And is that Adingra? That starts the scoring in the 20th minute here off of a mistake. Liverpool defense, especially central defense, but also on the edges as well. Trent is known to make mistakes. They cost this team tremendously. I mean, Matip, we know what happened with his own goal that cost the match. And that is that Van Dijk? Yeah, Van Dijk, bad pass to Alexis McAllister. Van Dijk, man, these central defenders, between Van Dijk and Matip, they are really blowing the chances of Liverpool to make it in the Champions League and to possibly even win the Premier League, because Manchester City's on a down year and nobody else is really showing a lot of promise or a lot of domination. Spurs isn't showing it. Newcastle isn't showing it. Brighton led with a lot of attack, but here Mohamed Salah in the 40th minute with his left foot swag, scores a goal opposite side. This was a Brighton defensive mistake. Maybe that was March. It looks like maybe it was March that made that mistake because he's not used to playing defense. But that was a great dummy by, I believe that's Harvey Elliott, to allow a pass from Nunez to go to Salah, who kicks it with his left foot on the opposite side of the goal. And that was great by Harvey Elliott. Well done to know that your striker is right next to you there to allow him to finish off. Great job. Great football there. Trent Alexander-Arnold with the short haircut, set piece. And there is a collision between Diaz and the Brighton keeper. Who is worse off? They both are acting like they are both badly injured. Looks like they pulled on Nunez's jersey. I think they had equal right to the ball here, did Diaz. And I'm not sure how Diaz got injured there. He's probably faking, obviously. And I mean, yeah, Brighton defenders just make a mess of trying to clear the ball. And I think they give up at least 2 or 3 penalties in the same possession to Liverpool, just trying to stop a goal there. So Brighton concede a penalty here for sure in just like two minutes after Salah scores. So just bad pass by Johnston to his keeper and good aggressiveness by Szoboszlai, the Hungarian. Darwin Núñez passes back to him. And yeah, Brighton is just trying to save their lunch here, save their neck. And they're showing it over and over, even though it is very clear that Brighton have just pulled them all the way down. I mean, that's like a WWF move. As Salah here is poised in the 45th minute, as it is 1-1 Brighton and Liverpool. Will he convert here? He has some issues, but yes, he does. Goes left bottom corner and makes it 2-1 Liverpool over Brighton. And it is still the first half. 2-1 Liverpool over Brighton. Liverpool can be great if this defense doesn't make mistakes. I mean, you're looking at last week as Salah does sujood, mashallah. Great Arabi, Muslim soccer player. But Matip and Van Dijk will be the death of Liverpool's success this year. It seems like they falter in very big moments. So it's time to find a new central defense for Liverpool. João Pedro here with an early attack in the second half. Brighton are hungry and sunny in their sunny stadium here. The Seagulls at the Amex American Express. I guess they are accepted outside of America. They must be accepted in the stadium. Can you imagine if they weren't? Who is that? Adingra? I guess Adingra is more. Maybe he's replacing Enciso. He's doing the Enciso role while Enciso's injured. Szoboszlai. Wow. Szoboszlai feeds. Who was that? Who just missed like a sitter. That just hit off the post. I mean, there was nobody even near a goal. It just hit the top post and came down. It should absolutely be 3-1 Liverpool. Wow. Clumsy, very, very clumsy tackle by Szoboszlai on Solly March. I think Szoboszlai definitely will get a yellow there. And I'll tell you my thoughts about De Zerbi. Again, Luis Diaz could have had. I think it was just touched away by the Brighton keeper. De Zerbi, I'm not a big fan of his, even though I hate what he does with Solly March. But it just seems to work out somehow. He just has the talent, Like I don't think it's his doing, but Bright management just signs like great players for him, and he gets bailed out. Matoma there. That is Matip or Van Dyke giving up another penalty. I mean, it's a handball on Van Dyke in the box, but they're just trying to determine was it intentional. So we will see. Because it hit his foot first, and then it came up and hit his hand. It looks like the ref might give De Zerbi a yellow. I would give De Zerbi a red, based on what I just told you guys about how much I don't like De Zerbi. I think he's a bit of a fraud. I hate the way he has his lineups. But like I said, he gets lucky. On a team with not as much talent as Brighton, I think De Zerbi is already fired. Oh, but they don't give the penalty. So it is still 2-1 Liverpool over Brighton. Solly March again. I mean, playing like he's a midfielder or a forward, so I don't even know, why they put him in defense here. He is pancaked. And I think we were about to see here in the 78th minute, March on a set piece here connects with Lewis Dunk for the second goal for Brighton. And it is 2-2. Brighton and Liverpool. The two defenders hooking up for the second goal. And of course, they're going to show a ton of replays here. Kind of an interesting goal. They have like half blue, half white. It's a little disorienting. I remember they did this, I think, with Ronaldo and Nasser, where the whole goal, like you weren't even able to like see if you were sitting behind the goal because the goal was all covered with, I don't know, with words or something, different colors. Joao Pedro had a great chance. He kind of looks like Martial a little bit, his face, in the 84th minute to make it 3-2, Brighton over Liverpool. But squandered over the goal by Joao Pedro. It's amazing how many times the best players in the world aren't able to just keep their head down and put the ball on target. It seems like half of the time, at least half of the time, that's what they're doing. I remember Gustavo Amer had on Sheffield has had a tremendous way of composing himself before kicking the ball, and I'm not sure that he really misses a lot over. He might be the one guy that I think has like a strategy for avoiding kicking the ball over the goal. As Matoma here, the guy with the best possession in the league, can only be stopped by a sloppy Joe Gomez, another just embarrassing defender by Liverpool, and he got a yellow card for stopping Matoma there. And Luis Diaz, we're in the 88th minute now, kicks the ball over the goal, as I just mentioned. And we're in the last minute of stoppage time here. And they give a guy in Liverpool that I don't know a yellow card. I think he's one of the new players. But this game is all but over here. We're in the 94th minute. I don't know who this is. Is this one of their new players, Liverpool's new players? Number 30-something. And this game is over. This match is over. 2-2 as Klopp and De Zerbi embrace. Klopp is a much better manager. And we will now move on to West Ham and Newcastle to see what happened in that match. Hint, hint, might be very similar to this one here. Thank you, by the way, for those that are listening back to this, for listening. This is the Football v Football podcast. Would appreciate it if you are watching on YouTube. Give a like, a share, comment, subscribe. Trying to grow the subscribers so that more of these can show up on your feed, and you can give me, what you would like to see. I do a lot of shorts now. The top goals of the week, some commentary on both European, English football, and American football. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, Spotify, Apple Podcast, Amazon, Exo Player, Samsung Podcasts. There's some countries that recently started to listen a lot. I think Nepal was one, and Singapore was the other. If you're listening from there, thank you. But wherever you're listening from, it would be awesome if you gave this podcast a top review, 5 stars. That would be awesome. And leave a comment on what you enjoy or what you'd like to see about in future podcasts. Would really appreciate it. And share it and do all that kind of good stuff. So in the beginning of this West Ham and Newcastle, they're really going over these lineups. One of the what is it? The two stands? Or no, the two Robbies. What is up with this? Why are they going over these highlights so much? Okay, so Tonali is back in the starting lineup for Newcastle. I don't know why, because he has been completely ineffective, taken out of the starting lineup. I think he was good in the first match, and then after that, he's been really disappointing. But he's back in the starting lineup for Newcastle. These are two teams that are – I think Newcastle is slightly better. I think Newcastle could have been the best team in the league this year, but they're not showing it. Their attack just missing a little something. I mean, Isak is great, but he just needs one more guy, and Callum Wilson doesn't seem to be that guy because it doesn't seem like they play them together. It doesn't seem like Callum Wilson and Isak play together. As West Ham capitalize on a bad Newcastle mistake, and Souček puts in an easy goal and then does a couple pirouettes, just making himself dizzy. Or making me dizzy. Mikel Antonio started that one. Man, I think Newcastle got caught in an offside trap there. They're trying to get him offside. And Nick Pope out of place. What are you doing, Nick Pope? Paquetá, great player. Yeah, I mean, Pope actually has one of the worst positionings of any keeper I've ever seen. He comes out of goal in a really stupid way and comes out way too far. Just he needs to go back to like goalie school. This guy. I mean, I think he's only in goal because of his size, but his acumen as a keeper, and he has good reflexes as well. But his acumen as a keeper, knowing when they come out and stay in, is pretty bad. Pretty bad. All right. Newcastle has an attack here. Nothing comes of it. Trippier on the right flank there tries to feed his players, but a header just falls very easily to Areola. What a name. Again, very easy. These goalies aren't really being tested here in the first 22 minutes, other than that big mistake by Nick Pope. Trippier again, shot on target from the right side. There's no angle there. Not really tested Areola yet. Pope saves a set piece. And we are approaching the 30th minute of this match. Not many great chances. Was that Almiron? It looks like an Almiron. Yeah, Almiron has some ability to, even though he looks like a kid, he has a great foot. This guy, he's a strong foot, and he scores worldies. This Almiron, and this guy used to be in the MLS. I mean, he's had a tremendous glow up, as the kids say. We're already in the second half here, in the 50th minute, with not many quality chances. Wow. Well, that was a good one there. Was that I don't know who that is. It actually looks like he could be Areola, but he's a defender in West Ham. Had a low header, just went wide of goal. Isak sets up. Wow. Great stop by Alfonso Areola there. Could have been a goal that was set up by Isak to somebody on a set piece. And Isak puts it in. That looked like they could have been offside. They caught West Ham in an offside trap the same way that they scored their first goal. And Isak, who has a nose for the goal, puts in the first for Newcastle. It is now 1-1 Newcastle and West Ham. And West Ham, I hate when they do this. They try to complain to the refs that it's offside, and they just get caught. And they're checking VAR here, but that's the West Ham defender heading it accidentally to Isak. So I don't think that can be offside. So it is counted as a goal as Tonali celebrates. 1-1 now into the 66th minute. Trippier to Isak for an easy finish. So 2 goals in succession, another brace for Isak. Nose for the goal, this guy. What else can you say about him? Alexander Isak, the Swede, but not really the Swede. Again, West Ham get caught trying to do this silly little offside trap. Trippier just on the fly, so it's a set piece. The Trippier who kicks it without even it going down, just kicks it from the air, and a volley straight to Isak. Great composure by Trippier, the captain of this team, the best player on this team, the defender, the set piece taker, the maestro. I'm so glad I drafted him in my leagues. He might be one of the best players in the EPL. I think he's probably at least top 10, if not top 5. As we move now, Isak has another chance and hits the bar. Gets by, just dribbles past Areola here, who has lost his way a little bit after being really good in the first 60 minutes. It just hits the post. Isak could have had a hat trick there. As we enter now the 89th minute, West Ham is on the attack, trying to find a late goal at home here, I believe. And Kudus does it! Mohamed Kudus! Huge. And the crowd goes wild! Where are the bubbles at? That's the coolest thing about West Ham, is those bubbles that they blow after they score a goal. So where are the bubbles? Let's see the bubbles. Mohamed Kudus ties it up in the 89th minute. 2-2, West Ham and Newcastle. And Newcastle are gutted, as they should be. But Kudus, what a shot. Powerful, left-footed shot to the right side of the goal. That was one of my top goals of the week, if you watch some of my shorts. And who is that guy that has his hands behind his back? Fabian Schär. Sufal, by the way, I also picked him up in one of my leagues, or maybe both of my leagues. He is a great facilitator of goals. West Ham very nearly had a third goal there on a cross, but couldn't get it done. And they are fighting. West Ham is fighting for this third goal. They are attacking goal. Newcastle is doing everything, bringing all their resources back. We're now in the 98th minute, and this game is over. It is 2-2, West Ham and Newcastle. Hard-fought match, exciting match. But we'll move now to Wolves and Aston Villa, the penultimate match in this week. This features 2 of my favorite players in the Premier League, Moussa Diaby and Pedro Neto. Pedro Neto, when healthy, he is incredibly exciting. And he has pace. He has a nose for a goal. He has the ability to pass the ball. I think he has the most accurate crosses in the Premier League, even though he hasn't played the entire year. And the Portuguese Wolves here. What do you think? The language they must speak in practice is probably Portuguese. Between the Brazilian and Portuguese guys on this team. I mean, that must be the lingua franca. Even though their coach is no longer Portuguese, although he used to be. And what's his name? Good evening himself. I forget his name. The old Arsenal coach is now the coach of Villa. Diego Carlos starting for them in defense. Pau Torres, Isri Konsa. That's interesting. No Matty Cash. Luca Dean and Matty Cash are starting in midfield along with Douglas Luiz, McGinn, and Boubacar Kamara. Interesting formation. This is a 3-5-2 formation. I mean, Matty Cash and Dean are glorified attackers anyway, so might as well put them there. And then Moussa Diaby and Ollie Watkins up top. This is kind of a cool formation. Like I like this formation. 3-5-2. If you're confident in your attackers, it's a good formation. Tielemans on the bench. Traore on the bench. Duran on the bench, who just comes in and scores this guy. But Aston Villa starts, and I think who is that? Pau Torres has an early chance on goal here, but it just goes wide in the 5th minute here. The defense just lost him. Man, that good evening guy is dressed to the nines. I mean, he is in a 3-piece suit and looks like he's like CEO of like top company. I was gonna say Google, but I'm sure the CEO of Google wears like a jeans and a t-shirt. Boubacar Kamara with a yellow card. As he pulls freaking Cunha's jersey halfway off his body. John McGinn. John McGinn kind of looks like me body-wise. Matty Cash almost scores it. See, that's why I like this 5 midfielder formation, because you have a strong attack, and how is the defense going to keep up with 5 midfielders like that? And it's just like freaking phalanx attacking. So a lot of action here just in the 8th minute so far. Good shot from like midfield by John McGinn. Almost tested the goalie there, but not quite. I like the aggression. I like the mindset. Not bad. Not bad at all by John McGinn there. The captain of Aston Villa. 28 minutes in. There's a lot of walking around going on. Ollie Watkins rioting in pain, number 11. And he coaxes the ref into a card for Dawson of Wolves. Is this legit? No, not really. I mean, he just accidentally kind of stepped in. Well, never mind. Yeah, no, they showed that angle. Yeah, you can't do that. He stepped on the back of his foot. He collapsed. Neto now writhing in pain as McGinn is given a yellow. Again, these players are not really injured, but they are milking it, as they do. Yeah, I mean, he kicks him a little bit, but he's milking it. Hwang, another player, I believe, of South Korean descent on Wolves that has a bit of a nose for goal. And you'll see here, I think it's in this one, Ryan Aitnouri. That's a Moroccan name. I think, but he might be Algerian. But Pedro Neto driving down, 53rd minute here. There you go. If you can hear that, these Wolves fans, they go crazy. Neto to Hwang, the Portuguese to the Korean. Oh, man, these Wolves fans, I love their reaction. Even last week against City, when they beat City, obviously you should be happy to do that. But now even against Aston Villa, they score the first goal of the match. They draw first blood in the 54th minute. Great. I mean, this guy has such pace down the line. And immediately after, 55th minute, Who's that? Pau Torres. No, it just says Pau on his back. He's like Pau Gasol. Draws Aston Villa even immediately. Uh, man, just not ready. The Wolves defense just was not ready. And it's a weird kind of movement Jose Sa makes. It looks like he was kind of out of position because he's like running towards the right, and then Pau Torres deflects it towards the left, and then he has to like collapse his body and just try to like dive down. So yeah, Wolves just barely had a lead, but that is the story of Wolves. Bad tackle by Wolves there, and a yellow card is given. Lamina, well, they said he's going to miss the next game now. So was that the red that I see here? Was that a second yellow? Doesn't look like it. No, not the red yet. Zaniolo is also pulled down. Ref is a little over officious in this game, it seems. He's a little gullible, falling for everything. Another yellow card. He almost points to Pau Torres' face as he's walking by. Yeah, this ref is a little over officious. I'm not a fan of this ref in this one. Institutes another yellow card. Is that the same one he was going to give? Unai Emery. Okay, Emery's a good evening guy. He booked his staff for a yellow card. Semedo makes a mess of it. This guy, he great cross, but then just has no power on the shot. Neto is fed the ball in front of the goal, but the goalie comes out. Good job by the Aston Villa goalie there, Emiliano Martinez. Otherwise, Neto would have taken the lead for sure there. But that is, I mean, Nick Pope, take some lessons from Martinez there, because that's how you're supposed to do it. And again, he just kicks it over. I guess he's trying to chip it, but just a lot of adrenaline. We're into the 91st minute now. It's still 1-1. And is that Ollie Watkins there? Just kicks it into the side netting. There's 12 minutes of stoppage time in this one. Probably because the ref keeps stopping the game. I didn't catch how much there was in the first half, and maybe probably again 13, 14 minutes. They're trying to appeal for a penalty for a shove on Watkins by Doherty. Surprisingly, the ref is not biting. I assume he would give him a red card or a blue card, or he'd make him his own card because he's over officious. Again, chance for Aston Villa here, and they seem to be appealing again. That Doherty pushed. Who was that? Leon Bailey, maybe? But the ref doesn't want to hear it all of a sudden. So he was very over officious in the beginning, and now when the game counts, he is not. Okay, so now in the 94th minute, he's over officious again. He just Zaniolo. Who is that? That's not Zaniolo. Who is that? Wolves player is given a second yellow, and now has a red. Oh, it's Lamina. So Lamina was already set to miss the next match, but now he is definitely going to miss at least the next match. I wonder how that works. Now he has a red, so maybe he misses the next 2 or 3 matches. Terrible ref. Whoever the ref of this match is, terrible. Horrible. This is at the end of the match here. It's in the 94th minute. Pathetic little shot by Douglas Luiz, who looks a little emaciated. Surprisingly, this guy actually, I don't remember him looking like this. Aston Villa with a huge chance in the 99th minute here. Who is that lying on the ground? Some guy with nice hair. Zaniolo. Oh, very, very, very nearly did exactly what Pau Torres did, which is have Jose Sa run direction and then kick it to the other direction, but can't do it here. Unai Emery is not having a good evening, having a bad evening and a bad second half. Douglas Luiz. Wow, Konsa. Oh, man. Aston Villa is fighting hard for this last goal. Of course, they are 11 on 10, so they have the advantage. Admirable effort by Wolves defense here as we're in the 102nd minute. Now the 103rd as we have the Molineux, the fans at the Molineux just, oh, God, just whistling for this game to be over. And Ollie Watkins, the last minute right before the whistle was blown, has a header that goes off the post. Wolves are lucky to survive. Wolves are lucky to survive in this one. Heroic. Matty Cash also on the bench. Just can't believe it. Matty Cash looks like somebody famous. I can't think of it. Is it Leonardo DiCaprio? Kind of looks like Leonardo DiCaprio. But Wolves survive, man. They're a fun team. Wolves are a fun team, man. They kind of like Wolves. They need some more stars, but I like Pedro Neto, and I like that crowd. Wolves fan, if you're a Wolves fan watching this, I like that atmosphere. On to the last game. So this ends 1-1. Wolves and Aston Villa. On to the last game of the week, Manchester City and Arsenal. Hotly contested match. These were the two best teams from last year. Raya is in goal for Arsenal in this one. Zinchenko, the Zbala, is playing defense for them. Ben White, who I picked up recently in one of my fantasy leagues, I think he's finally finding his form, and he's finally being a consistent starter on this team. So thank you, Arteta. Even though Arteta, I don't agree because you still have Vieira and Nelson on your bench. You don't play them often, but you seem to still be winning. So who am I to say? But I think Vieira and Nelson should be playing more. And they're showing here again, Manchester City. You're starting Rico Lewis, Mateo Kovacic in midfield. Gavardiol, Ake, Diaz, Walker, Ederson. Other than the front, which is, of course, amazing, Holland, Foden, Alvarez, Silva, the back seven of this team is extremely vulnerable, in my opinion. And I think that's why they're losing some of these games, because if you still had Mahrez and Gundogan and even Cole Palmer, which is showing what he's made of in Chelsea, I think you'd be a lot better off because you have a lot better depth. This game starts here at Emirates Stadium. There are a lot of famous Arsenal fans that are involved this weekend in a certain boxing match. Nathan Ake starts the offensive here, kicking it over the goal, of course. Arsenal has a attack of their own, and it is blocked by Gavardiol, as I talked crap about him before. Given away by the Arsenal defense. I believe that's Kyle Walker, straight to David Raya. I'm interested to see how David Raya played a role in this game. And if he is truly great, then if he just takes over for Rams, wow. As I talked about that, he makes a terrible mistake, and Alvarez almost scores because he's dribbling too much. And you know what? He gave the ball away a second time. And Arsenal's defense is bailing him out. Well, he jumps high. He is one of the, I think, shorter keepers in the Premier League. But his athleticism is amazing. But those two decisions he made in succession were terrible. As Is that Nketiah? Nketiah misses another kick. This guy is almost on par with Mbappe, but not as bad in terms of how many shots he takes and misses. Somebody here is trying to save themselves from getting a red. Kovacic, after a kind of a bad-looking tackle on Odegaard. We'll see. A yellow card. Just a yellow. They thought it might be red. Now Arsenal, they do a double fake on the set piece, but Ederson is equal to it. Ederson, of course, an amazing outlet for assists. The way he kicks the ball, it's incredible. It's his best value. He must have worked on that in the offseason. He's really, really good at that. Zinchenko, the Zabella, the Hamad, does nothing. Tries it, gets blocked twice. As Rico Lewis tries to feed Haaland, but wow. Okay, so the ref does not, even though it looked like one of the Arsenal defenders pulled Haaland down. Michael Oliver, the referee, does not grant it, and Raya is still playing with that ball. And Alvarez almost has like 3 goals because of Raya's playing with this ball. And it's the 50th minute here, and nobody has scored yet. Martinelli. Ederson. Shot on target, but Ederson makes quick work of it. Well, the ref has kind of lost control of this one, it seems. Rico Lewis went and scored after something wasn't called, but it looks like it was called, but nobody heard the whistle. Jesus, deflected by Manchester City. Odegaard with a set piece here, corner. Zinchenko kicks the ball skyward, but he's a loser, so nobody cares about him. Set piece. Rico, man. I don't know about Rico. Is he the answer for Manchester City? Martinelli here. Oh, nutmegs Bernardo Silva. Then passes it to the center of the field. And then Odegaard. Odegaard seems to be taking a lot of shots that are bad shots on goal. Havertz. Odegaard. Is he going to pass it? He does. Nifty to Jesus, but nope. Of course, the Brazilian dives. Jesus is one of the most pathetic divers I've ever seen. Tomiyasu feeds Havertz. Martinelli. Deflection. Goal. Arsenal. In the 87th minute. Came right off of Ake's face. And the Emirates is abuzz. Huge goal. Huge goal for Arsenal. Bernardo Silva, who also kind of looks like me a little bit, is just disgusted. Just disgusted. And Arsenal crowd, the Arsenal faithful, the Gunners, are having the time of their life here. What a nice stadium compared to Luton, man. I mean, some teams have so much money. It's the disparity. You don't see it anywhere else. It's crazy. You know, like they talked about how like Key Arena wasn't fit to be like an NBA stadium, but if you compare like Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the Luton Town one, that's the first one. Tomiyasu into the space. Havertz setting up, calm, composed. That's you talk about not fit. The head of Ake. He's had an excellent afternoon defensively. Oh, dude, Ake right off his face. Diverts the ball past the helpless Ederson and helpless Ederson. That wasn't on Ederson at all. Man, you can see the buildings in the background. I guess Arsenal Stadium is maybe like is it maybe downtown, close to some tall buildings? I've never been. 94th minute here. Pep Guardiola looks defeated. He has accepted his fate. And there's whistles for this game to end. Michael Oliver. There it is. And Arteta, just want to see this handshake. And then I'll bring this to a conclusion. There it is. So that was match week 8. Like I said, trying something new here. This is almost 2 hours. We'll see how it goes, but this is what I like to do anyway. I like to watch the highlights from the week. So this is EPL match week 8, just to get a feel for the week. Because you can't watch all the games. So hope this was enjoyable to at least some of you. Like I said, this is something I would have done anyway. So, like I mentioned before, you watch it on YouTube and you like maybe this or some of the other stuff, go ahead and subscribe. Subscribing is the best thing you can do. So if you could do that, like, comment, share as well. On Instagram, we're on Twitter, we're on TikTok, post a lot of shorts. Those are pretty cool. Those are more digestible. Those are a lot shorter than this, usually like 30 seconds. And if you're listening on a podcast platform, as I mentioned before, go ahead and follow us and give us a good rating. That'll do it, ladies and gentlemen, for this match week, the Premier League match week 8 reaction. Till next time, have a fantastic day, football fans.